Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17045. All in favor, please vote. And that's to table this item until the September 13, 2017 License and Variance Board meeting. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17046, allow fence height increase from front yard from 4 feet to 5 feet, land lot 596, 8.7 acres, 3130 Atlanta Road, Smyrna Presbyterian Church. Is the applicant here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please step to the podium. And for the record, can you state your name and tell us about your variance request?
My name is Robert Hines, and the request is a fence that is running down Collier, and on the other side between the church and the city, it was 5 feet, and we was just wanted to duplicate that. We're trying to make we have a school there also, and we're trying to make it a little more secure from the Collier Road side.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Are you the fence contractor or?
I'm the facilities manager there at the church.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hines, can you just have a seat on the front row, please? And at this time, we'll have comments by staff. Joey Stobbs, please.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2, Community Development. The applicant requesting to put up a 5-foot iron-looking fence along the Collier Drive side of their property. This is our neighboring property to the north of us at Bronner, and they have a 5-foot iron fence on our adjoining property line, which they are duplicating on the Collier Drive side along the road. We have a height restriction of 4 feet along a road, so they need a variance to increase the height 1 additional foot. This is it might not be made out of iron, but it looks like an iron rod fence, so it's transparent through the fence. There's no sight visibility issues that we have, so we've approved other types of fences like this in the past, and we've recommended approval of the request.
Any questions for the staff? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-046. Allow fence height increase in front yard from 4 feet to 5 feet, land lot 8.7 acres, 3130 Atlanta Road, Smyrna Presbyterian Church.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17046. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hines.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17044. Allow encroachment into city's 75-foot impervious setback and 50-foot undisturbed buffer for an accessory structure, land lot 385, 0.77 acres, 720 Reed Road, Mary Catherine and Jonathan Glisson is the applicant. Can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name and then tell us about your variance request?
Jonathan and Mary Catherine Glisson,
Okay.
And we are constructing an open-air outside structure, storage structure for various household or recreational items.
Any questions for the applicant? All right. If you guys can have a go ahead.
Was this something that you're building, or did you have a contractor start this work?
We had a contractor start the work.
All right. If you guys can have a seat on the front row, please, and we'll have Joey Stobbs from Community Development make comments.
The applicants are requesting a variance to allow construction of a accessory structure within an undisturbed buffer and impervious surface setback. The structure's already under construction. I believe code enforcement was made aware, so then they came to apply for a variance. The subject property is inundated with several easements, and beyond the stream buffer, the rear yard has the Colonial Pipeline easement and some drainage easements, and then other impediments from being able to develop in the rear yard. So this was one of the remaining few flat areas, relatively flat areas on the property for which they could build. So seeing these constraints, we recognized the hardship, and we recommended approval with just two conditions. One, approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted, and two, issuance of a building permit is contingent upon submittal of a stormwater management plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer. So basically, before we will issue a permit, or at the latest issue a CO, the applicants will work with the city engineer to incorporate any either buffer restoration issues or any issues that the city engineers thinks could cause erosion or harm to the nearby stream. Then they will implement those before this project is completed.
Questions for the staff?
Joey, in the application, we've got the site plan and then the approximate location of the structure, is written in. Do we know that the structure is not also within the side setback as well?
From the information I have, that it was not within the side setback, but it's very close to it.
Okay, I just had a question for the applicant, unless anybody's got. So, Joey just read into the record the two conditions, that could possibly be included, and one specifically deals with you guys working with the city engineer to find ways to mitigate, and he gave examples of, potential restoration of the undisturbed area, whatever that may mean.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I would imagine, would include the contemplation of gutters for the structure, and then the stormwater captured from the gutters directed in a specific area, either towards or away, whatever, whatever. So I just mentioned that just to kind of confirm that you guys understand that, mm-hmm. and that you would be willing to do that.
Sure.
It would be a condition within
Sure.
this variance.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. When we were in our due diligence period, looking at the house, my wife and I found the house on Reed Road, and we found it to be an attractive house that we would like to purchase. During the due diligence period, we met with a city engineer, Eric Randall, for the sole purpose of finding out whether this was considered a stream or a ditch, if you will. And upon meeting Eric, we were told during the site walk that was a ditch. And I even made mention to Eric during that time that, we were standing in the ditch. And I said, well, the reason that you're here is that I wanted to build a storage barn right here on this side of the house on this piece of property. And at that time, before we bought the house, we were okayed. Now, that was a verbal communication. We don't have anything in writing to back that up. But I believe we do have record of the appointment with the city engineer, Eric Randall. I guess my question is, we met with the city engineer to make sure we were clear. We paid for surveys, and then we paid for the gas company to come out and do their surveys. So we thought we had covered all the bases. And then after the construction of the property or the building, we were then notified that we were.
We should have gotten a permit, and sorry, we did not know that.
Yeah, and
Well, and I think that I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
no, and so I guess we were just under the impression of one set of information regarding this drainage area, and then we were, I guess, flagged for another.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well,
Didn't know why.
I can only make assumptions. I just assumed that when you met with Eric, obviously, I'm assuming that there was no official site plan in hand that would identify.
Property lines, no,
Yeah,
sir.
property lines and also buffer setback, no disturbance areas, the 50-foot and then the 75-foot. And then through the, there is a process by which you can do that. So you start out with the initial building permit, and through that application process would be the requirement for the site plan, which would have showed the buffer area that we're talking about. And then what you're going through now would have still been an option to you. In order to do this, you must receive a variance from this particular ordinance. And I think that we're here kind of with in a little bit of a backwards way. We would have been here anyway, more than likely, if you chose to do that.
I guess the question is, if it were truly a ditch, would it matter? Would you need the variance if it were considered a drainage ditch?
It's a runoff, like a water runoff from.
No, but I don't know when Eric would have met with you, and there again, like
July
the
last year.
The chief said that, this information wasn't in the hands of my engineer when he met with you. Secondly, the determination of a stream has specific definition, especially as it's modified by the EPD and EPA. And one of the, I guess, simplest ways to look at these ditches is if they're not flowing any water, it may just be a ditch.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have a rain event or a significant rain event, and if it flows water for more than 3 days or holds water for more than 3 days, then it's waters of the state, and then it's subject to all these setbacks.
Okay.
So that may be, he may have met you on because we've been in a drought for a while.
Sure.
May have been dry. It wasn't a perennial stream at that point, but if we do get a rain, you may want to look at it because you may be able to get your surveyor if someday in the future to take a look at it and say, look, this thing doesn't flow water except the day it rains. When the rain stops, that ditch stops. But if it doesn't, then it is a perennial stream, and you have to go by these setbacks.
Okay. I was just curious.
That's
That's how that works.
Yeah. Thank you. That answers the question.
Any other questions? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve V17-044 to allow encroachment into city 75-foot impervious setback and 50-foot undisturbed buffer for an accessory structure for land lot 385.77 acre located at 720 Reed Road, for Mary Catherine and Jonathan Glisson, with the two conditions as read into the record by staff.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17044. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we did call Eric Randall. He's the person to call?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, next item is approval of minutes for the August 9th, 2017 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of the August 9th, 2017 meeting of the License and Variance Board.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the meeting minutes for the August 9th, 2017 meeting of the License and Variance Board. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:15 a.m. Thank you.